All right, we are back
Oh my
after a
God.
long hiatus.
A very long hiatus. Well, to be fair, the hiatus is due to me because I'm busy consistently.
I heard you quit your job.
I did quit my job. Yeah. It got out of, the kids were more out of control than I thought, and it's I don't think I was the right fit. More than anything, I don't think I was the right fit for the school.
Yeah.
Which that's fine. But I got another job that I'm working, so we'll be able to work a little bit more regularly with our streaming.
Okay.
Because I'll be working at Mr. Reuter, so I'll be closer to home as opposed to like an hour away. So if we want to ante these things up, we can. And also, if we want to stream at my place, we can do that.
All right, that would be nice, just to like
change it up.
Yeah, because really the only reason like we've been doing it here is because I wanted to make it easier for you.
Oh, I completely understand that, but I think it also needs to be easier for you as well. Yeah. So it's like, hey, let's get you out of here, get some sunshine, huh? All right.
Okay.
So,
gripes with the MCU.
Where do we begin?
Yeah, I think
should have had a cup of coffee this morning. Just like, where do we start?
Yeah. I think like if we just go like one by one, we'll be here all day.
Yes, we will. But you want to know what's actually interesting? I talked with the guy that I work with for Mr. Reuter, and he's like, I kind of want to do a podcast about anything and everything. What do you guys talk about? I tell him we do MCU and Disney movies. Yeah. He got excited. It's like, yay. But anyways, gripes with the MCU. Let me summarize Iron Man 1 up. I realize this is an exaggeration here, but it's dark. Okay? I can't even shine a flashlight, and I'm like, where the heck is everything? Where?
Yeah. I've heard a common complaint with Iron Man 1 is the villain.
Yeah, he's pretty generic, cookie cutter.
Yeah. Would Obadiah Stane technically count as a twist villain?
Not really. You kind of got it from the rip that he was looking to undermine Tony. Like, there was something sinister beneath that. It was very much, he's probably the bad guy. Now, the stuff that he did, yeah, I was like, oh, he's the one that did that. But you could tell right from the get-go, he's the reason. He's the bad guy. But Jeff Bridges did a great job. He did a great job.
He was great.
Like, I still look at that guy and say, him and Kurt Russell, put them together in a movie. Did they ever do a movie? Let's keep going, but I'm going to look this up. Okay. Next. What's the next one that came after that? Incredible Hulk.
Okay. My issues with this one. Not enough Hulk.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
And the writing was laughably bad at times.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, I can agree with that. You know, there wasn't a whole lot of Hulk. I did like that they brought in the guy that actually does Hulk as a cameo as the security guard. I thought that was pretty cool. And I actually finding out that, you know, the reason that Ed Norton got the role was because it reminded the guy who did Hulk reminded him of Billy.
Oh, really?
The guy who did Billy. The guy who did Dr. Banner is Billy, his co-star.
Huh.
From the TV show back in like the 70s or something like that.
Bill Bixby?
Yes, that's it.
I didn't even know he was still alive. I thought he died.
Lou Ferrigno?
No, Bill Bixby.
He did.
Okay.
He did.
Okay.
He passed away, but Lou Ferrigno was like, I want a movie where it reminds me of.
I actually met Lou Ferrigno at a Seattle Comic Con once.
I heard he's a really sweet guy.
Yeah.
How was he?
He was a nice guy.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's always good.
Although it was the one time during that entire trip that I forgot my camera.
Oh, dude. Okay. Well, let's see.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna hit the main points on this one.
Yeah.
All right. So next one that came out was Iron Man
Iron
2.
Man 2. I like this movie.
I thought that movie was fun. Give credit to the guy that does Justin Hammer.
Yeah.
He was hamming it up.
No pun intended.
But Whiplash was kind of like bland and generic.
Yeah.
It was like this guy he hates, Tony Stark simply because his father was fired or something like that.
It probably would have been better if he was given like some kind of a backstory.
He was, but his was just like revenge for my father. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's kind of generic.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I really do. But at the same time, generic.
Yeah.
All right, next on the list is
Isn't it Thor?
yeah, it's got to be Thor. It's got to be
Okay.
Thor. Which I always, whenever I watch Phase 1 of the MCU, I always put Thor last because I feel like there's just somewhat more of a cohesive story. It's a little bit more cohesive. It's not as engaging if you start with Iron Man 1 because I start with Captain America because Captain America is my favorite superhero in Marvel, right behind Spider-Man. Let's be honest about that. Everybody's favorite superhero in the MCU is Spider-Man. It's always Spider-Man. It ain't going to be anything but Spider-Man.
Well, I think it's tied between Spider-Man and Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
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 But Thor.
Thor, I liked this one, but it felt very Shakespearean.
Yeah.
Which
And I think that's a problem that a lot of people have with it.
Yeah, but to be fair, the director, Kenneth Branagh, is a Shakespearean-trained actor. But to me, it also feels the closest thing to, like, how Thor would conduct himself. Not these silly, like, adventure where it's like save the love of his life in the dark world, which that's a whole other can of worms we're going to get to in a second. And silliness with improv.
With Thor Ragnarok and Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder, no, not Love and Thunder. Ragnarok worked pretty well as, a joke. Just improv. But it's like, you can do that as a one-off where it's just Thor being like, you know what? I want to act just a little bit more. Just act a little silly. But you can tell that was more Chris Hemsworth than Thor. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But with Thor, it's very much, it's an origin story. It's one where everybody's like, oh, you kind of got to know them.
Yeah. And although Tom Hiddleston was great.
Oh, he was fun. He was fun as Loki. Like, he was conniving. He wasn't outwardly like, He wasn't outwardly, I'm going to do this, Thor. He's like, no, this guy's saying. He was more accurate, I feel, to the mythological and folklore Loki. And even, like, the early iterations of it.
Yeah.
So, I enjoy this movie, but it's also because it's the first MCU movie I ever saw.
Yeah.
So, moving on.
Captain America.
Captain America. This one
It's interesting.
It's as staple of a comic book hero movie as they come.
Yeah. Because there are several moments in it where I'm like, okay, this kind of feels like it's right out of Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah. But it's also, you got to realize, Captain America's power is just he punches people.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. Like the scene, like, near the end where they're in the car chasing, like, the plane that's about to take off. That was something right out of Indiana Jones.
Oh, 100%. And it's 100% fictitious. But I do like Tommy Lee Jones is like, I'm not going to kiss you. You give that man any form of comedic line, he'll deliver. He'll deliver with the most straight-laced face possible, but it's going to be... It's funny. But Tommy Lee Jones did a good job, I think, in that he was, very much a straight-laced general. Like, he delivered it how it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, straight, like a whiskey. Straight, no ice, no water to water it down, no nothing. It was straight as it comes. But he's also the guy you end up liking the most because it's like, he's trying to prepare these men for war. Like it or not, this is during World War II.
How did you feel about Red Skull?
He was campy, he was silly, but credit to Hugo Weaving, he did a good job, I thought.
Yeah.
But also that it was very much like, bland and generic. And that's what I would say is like the thing with the MCU with Phase 1. The villains are very generic.
Yeah.
But to be fair, look at where it was. Superhero movies were meant to be formulaic, campy, generic. Where the villains were campy and generic. That was the era that we grew up in.
Kind of wish they would go back to that.
And honestly, people still want that campy generic villain, where it's like, okay, we're not gonna like you because you're the villain and you made it very clear you're not to be liked.
Yeah.
It's fun. Now, do I enjoy sympathetic villains? Yes, I do.
When they're done right.
Yes, Thanos, Killmonger. What other ones? I'm not gonna count Hela. Hela was like, eh. But Killmonger and Thanos, they're done well. When they're written as human characters, it's like, wow. Thanos is right. But then you realize, as much as you want Thanos to be right, it's like, oh, we got to eliminate half of the population. Yeah, we don't have to. We got enough food as is.
Yeah. So the next one is
Phase
Avengers.
2. Yes, Avengers, which wraps up Phase 1.
My biggest issue with this movie is the fact that the movie spends a little too much time spending Loki's army and not enough time fighting Loki himself.
Yeah. Yep. But when they do finally get to Loki, man, is it fun to watch. With the Hulk smash, like, bang, bam, 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 whoa, bang. Like, that became memes for days.
Yeah.
People still do it.
Yeah, because I'll say this right now. One of my biggest pet peeves about most superhero movies is when the hero and the villain don't interact until like the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Which there are a couple of exceptions of movies that actually didn't do that.
Yeah.
The Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy.
Yep.
And the Marvels, which we'll get to that one.
Mm-hmm.
But that was something I appreciated about the Marvels.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Was that
my gripe with Avengers is that it's let's see. I mean, it's the fact that you've got all these characters, you throw them together, and they're all very standoffish with each other until the very end, where they finally learn to get along. It's like a team building exercise where you're bringing all these individual players that are meant to be like individual players. They're used to being individual players, and now all of a sudden they got to be a team. Where Fury just drops that on them, like, you guys are going to be a team. Huh?
Although, I will say this, like,
another gripe I have with it. Not enough Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Seriously, not enough Hawkeye.
I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to hypnotize him.
I don't either. Like, the dude's deaf. He's not going to hear you trying to do hypnosis. And you're like, woo.
Or not hypnotize, brainwash.
Yeah,
whatever.
brainwash.
But the one thing I will say is, like, there are, like, this is something you don't really see, like, in the MCU, at all, really. There are several, like, iconic moments in this movie. It's similar to the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, where there are several iconic moments in those movies. Like the panning shot of going around in a circle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. I do know what you're talking about. Those are fun shots.
Yeah. and that scene with Iron Man and Loki together.
Yeah.
In his tower.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
great. Especially where they're monologuing back and they're dialoguing back and forth with each other. And of course the iconic, not a great plan. It's like, I have an army. We have a Hulk. It's like, wait, we? Y'all can't even stand each other. Yet you're gonna say we have a Hulk. Rough.
If we can't protect the world, you could be damn well sure we'll avenge it. Like,
Yeah.
that was great.
That was a well delivered line.
Yeah.
All right.
So the next one
Phase 2
is Iron Man 3.
Yeah. I still can't get over that troll they did with Ben Kingsley. He was dressed up like the Mandarin, okay? He looked like the Mandarin and was acting like the Mandarin, and all of a sudden, oh, he's not the Mandarin. Screw you. I'm still mad about that. Or they want to say the Mandarin could be anybody. No. Ben Kingsley's character looked like the Mandarin. Because I'm used to the comic book version.
My favorite line in this movie is when Tony is fighting that lady.
Yeah.
And she's like, is that all you got? A cheap trick and a cheesy one-liner? And he's like, babe, that could be the name of my autobiography.
Oh, a cheap trick and a cheesy one-liner. But also the movie was like very much like therapy in a film for Tony because of all the stuff he went through. But the malfunctioning suits. Seriously, the one suit that he's like, I'm gonna wear this one. It's the latest one. It's malfunctioning badly. How could Tony let it be that bad? It's like, dude, you don't think to tinker with that, fix it up a little bit? I realize he did throughout the movie, but it's like, dude, that's your newest one, and that's the one you're gonna go with? No.
Yeah, and like half the time, he's either not in the suit, or the suit is broken.
Yeah.
I did like the airplane sequence though. I thought that was
That
cool.
was fun, and also the fight scene where with Pepper finally having some form of superpowers.
Yeah, and the final battle at the pier was cool.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun to watch.
All the different suits flying around.
Yeah. It's Iron Legion.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh God, what's after Iron Man 3?
Thor: Dark World.
Thor: Dark World. Okay.
This one just. You could retitle this as Thor rescues Jane over and over again. And you'd be right.
Yeah.
You'd be right.
Yeah. And we'll get to Love and Thunder. But one of my problems with that movie is like the whole Jane being sick thing. It's like, didn't we just go through that in Thor: The Dark World?
Yeah, we did, because she was sick with the red Infinity Stone. Was it the Bloodstone or something?
The Reality Stone.
Reality Stone, yeah, it was red.
Yeah. Although I do have a theory that the Reality Stone is what caused the cancer.
That'd be a good guess.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden she's fine, but then years later, oh, she's got cancer. Where'd that pop up from?
Yeah.
Like, there's no build-up to that. It's like, if you drop a cancer on a character, you have to give a build-up. And the fact of the matter is, like, you did not give a build-up. It was all just sort of, bam, she's got cancer now.
Well, I think part of it has to do with the fact that Natalie Portman was barely even present throughout half of the MCU.
She really wasn't there. So it was like, you're bringing her back for what? But anyways, this one, the villain is like, the Ninth Doctor from
Malekith,
for Malekith. It was just, I want to destroy the world. And Thor's like, no, Okay? What would you do? Yeah, honestly, it was getting to the point where I was half expecting Thor to go, boring, let's just fight. At least then, it'd be like, yes!
I know a lot of people don't like Darcy, but I actually thought in this movie she was actually funny.
Yeah, was that
Kat Dennings.
Kat Dennings? Yes, she was fun.
Yeah.
She was fun. I actually like her character, especially in the first one. Like, you see actual growth. Because in the first one, she's like, this is the only one where I had Fridays off. I was like, this is the only reason you picked this one. Just so you could have Fridays off. Wow. Just wow.
And that's another thing about the first Thor is that there are a lot more comedic moments than people, I think, realize.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, the drinking contest in the first one. Where the scientists, they're trying to drink each other under the table. The problem is Thor tolerates alcohol like it's water. Okay? Like, he'll drink and drink and drink and drink and drink. By the time he's on the fourth, big glass, you're already under the table.
Also, Thor was our introduction to Hawkeye.
Yeah, he was. That's where Hawkeye is like, because Thor's trying to get his hammer back, but it's not giving it up, not working for him because he hasn't learned his lesson.
Yeah. Which
I liked about the first one. It's like, you need to have humility.
Yeah. Although, I still like to say that Thor went to Jotunheim when he wasn't supposed to and got grounded.
He did get grounded, quite literally. Like, you even see it's like, oh God, is this Earth? It's like, yeah, it is Earth. No, let's see. Thor Dark World is...
It was okay.
It was all right, but it was very much like, meh. It's Thor when he's his newer self. You don't see as much cocky swagger to it. But it's a bunch of, I'm trying to see Jane. Oh, now I gotta save Jane. Now I gotta save her.
Mother wouldn't want us to fight. Well, she wouldn't exactly be shocked.
I will say this. I did like when they brought in Chris Evans, Captain America.
Yes.
Okay, with Loki, with that transformation where they just bring in other actors. Okay, that was fun. All right, and after Thor Dark World, what happened? Was that Winter Soldier?
I think so.
Because I'm trying to remember where.
Let me check.
You can see how long. Yeah, your phone's right there.
Yeah.
You can see how long it's been since we watched some of these MCU movies.
Yeah.
Okay. MCU Phase 2. Oh, look at that. We already looked it up before. Wikipedia. Yeah. What movies did we have? Films. Iron Man 3, Thor. Oh, okay. We are right. It's the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember where Guardians of the Galaxy fell in this one. But anyways, Winter Soldier. I liked this one a lot.
Yes. Easily the best out of
Easily the best one, because you take the character of Captain America and you drop him into unknown territory. His power, like I said, is just punching people. Now you got him in an espionage political thriller. That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And also, they filmed in downtown Cleveland.
Yeah, and the fact that this is not only our introduction to Falcon.
Yeah.
But they actually included Black Widow and Nick Fury in this.
Yes. And this one actually feels like, with this one, they're trying to grow. They're trying to grow past that stereotypical superhero movie. Nothing wrong with the stereotypical superhero film, but we wanted something different. People could see that. And, but what gripes do we have about it?
The villain?
Yeah, the villain is very much like, well, he's got to be sneaky.
Yeah.
Hail Hydra. Hydra has infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay, there's a gripe I have with this. How the hell does Nick Fury let it go that long? And he's like, oh, I know they've infiltrated. Then why didn't you go after him? Dude! You could have saved all that trouble.
Yeah. Also, twice, Steve has asked,
If he's on someone's side or something?
no, he's asked about. I think he's asked about like Nick Fury being in his apartment,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, how do you even know that?
Well, it's like, and the fact that he's like, I need help from a friend. It's like, oh, kind of message. He's thinking the place is bugged or something like that. But how the heck does he get in? Oh, wait. Keep in mind, Cap was being monitored by, the agent that's across the hall.
Okay.
So maybe she was able to lockpick or something or like that. But it would have been cool to see it like as a deleted scene. Or in like an extended cut. That sense of, you're building and scaling this, more and more. That's why I like some of these extended version of movies. Like, it's the director's cuts. Like, it feels like a more complete movie. I mean, good example. Do I like the theatrical version of Lord of the Rings? Yes, I do. But I like the director's cut, the extended version, a little bit more. Because the theatrical version was the director's cut, but Peter Jackson put more in there because of the Tolkien fans. And to be honest, it feels like a much more fleshed out and complete story. Like, it feels very much well done.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I would have to say, that I've got a few gripes with this movie. It's fun, it's good, but it's just like some of the things like, wait, how'd that happen? Why did that happen?
Yeah. There's a lot of plot holes.
Mm-hmm. There are a number of plot holes. She coughed it through the toy. She's like, I am done with you. Both of you. You are not paying attention to me. That is not fair. That's not cool. All right. After that, it's Guardians of the Galaxy.
I love this movie.
This movie was so much fun. So much fun. Because it was like, we'll go back to some of the generic, stereotypical superhero film tropes. But we're going to make this movie fun. Like, absolutely fun. And it was done so well. Like, afterwards, people were going like they were going out getting stuff for Guardians of the Galaxy because it was so fun. I mean, Ronan was like, very much a very, very generic villain. But you also got to realize, you're bringing in, like, your main head of the Guardians of the Galaxy is a comedic actor. Excuse me. Yeah. Because Chris Pratt, please excuse me, was mostly known for his stuff on Parks and Rec, where he was a comedy actor, which Jake and I barreled through season 1 because it's so hard to sit through. But Chris Pratt used Parks and Rec to springboard into into Guardians of the Galaxy, and he just, he started being much more serious about his roles. Like, even for the MCU to play Peter Quill, he had to he had to lose weight. He had to lose quite a bit of weight because apparently on Parks and Rec he was getting bigger and bigger. But this movie, you got like some serious characters being led by a comedic goofball. It was wacky. This movie was straight up wacky. We needed something silly after Winter Soldier was so serious.
Yeah.
And this movie delivered on that. Like, I remember seeing this at least 2-3 times in the theaters because it was so fun. Well, let's see. Gripes about this.
Not enough Thanos.
There really wasn't a whole lot of Thanos. Like, he showed up for once, and it's like, well, what are you gonna do? I'm just gonna sit in this chair. Dude! So you went from standing up looking on the horizon at the end of Avengers 1 to, I'm just gonna sit in this chair and wait. You aren't planning, you aren't preparing, you're doing nothing, you're just gonna sit in the chair. Oy.
Yeah, really, I think instead of Ronan, they really should have made Thanos the main villain of this movie.
They really should have. Like, it would have been a nice little setup.
Yeah.
But they had to bring in the, what is it? It wasn't the The Power Stone.
Power Stone, yeah.
Yeah, they had to bring that in. Well, let's see. Yeah, not a whole lot of Thanos in this one. But you can see the MCU is starting to evolve, starting to change. People are like, oh, hey, this is actually fun. This is pretty cool. This is outgrowing its generic campy roots. The next is Avengers: Age of Ultron.
I like this movie.
This movie was fun, but it felt very much trying to treading the same ground it did in the first one.
Yeah.
In the first Avengers movie, it was like the first team-up movie. Everybody was like, yeah! With this one, they're retreading the same ground.
Yeah. Although, one thing I will say is that this movie did fix like the issue I had with the first movie, where now like they're pretty much fighting Ultron throughout the entire movie.
Yes, they were, which felt nice because. But that's the thing with Ultron. Like, he has to create so many different clone bodies that it's like, oh, they're all Ultron. Which was, that's fun.
Yeah. Also, that beginning sequence was great.
Oh, it was fun. It was so much fun where they're all, like, running through Sokovia and just, barreling through all these soldiers. And they're working together doing team attacks. Oh, look at all those guys coming. Oh, they're excited. Ding! It's like that cohesion is already built in. It would have been nice to see, like, a little series where they're all working together. But I guess the Disney XD Avengers was supposed to be like a little, what was it, like fill in of what the Avengers were doing. But that's its own thing because they bring Falcon in on that one.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to see like what they were doing to build up their cohesion. Like even seeing like. It could be like a 5-minute short of like them developing cohesion and team attacks, just to see them, instead of being like this, being more like this.
Yeah. Falcon shows up in this movie like maybe twice.
Yeah, twice or something like that. Yeah. He doesn't show up a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah. At least I think Rhodey is at least part of the final battle.
No, I don't think he is. I think he helps out with the evacuation, but he doesn't involve himself in the fight.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because they bring back S.H.I.E.L.D., and get everybody off of the floating city block.
Yeah. Isn't like the main no wait, that's Civil War. Never mind.
Okay. But yeah, let's see. Ultron, he's fun. He's like,
and I love James Spader's performance.
His performance is great. But it's so funny to me that literally and this is all from the reality stone. No, wait, the Mind Stone.
Yeah.
Mind Stone, because that's the element. The super sentient AI, like, just goes onto the internet for, like, 10 to 30 seconds, and it's like, all right, we need to get rid of humanity. I'm like, hey, yo, whoa, chill there, Skynet. Some of us actually like living. But yeah, this one, it's like, what did the guy go to, like Reddit or something, 4chan, and just see a bunch of, bad stuff? Like, holy smokes.
Yeah. This was also our introduction to Wanda and Pietro.
And Vision.
And
of course, Pietro dies in this one. It's
also, technically Wakanda?
Technically, I don't know. Maybe. Oh yeah, you're right. From the vibranium.
Yeah.
Oh, as well as who's the guy that Andy Serkis plays?
Claw.
Yeah, Claw. That's it. Yeah. And of course, how he loses his hand. Because in the comic books, he loses his hand from stealing. In this one, it's because Ultron gets mad. It's like, dude, come on. But this movie was fun. All right, the last movie in Phase 2 was Ant-Man.
Yes. I like this movie.
This movie was so fun. The fact that they're taking superhero and they're starting to, like, you know, buddy cop films. And with this one, they decide we're going to do superhero and heist. And it works so well. Like, it's fun. It's funny. It's cute. It's charming. It's cheeky. I like it.
Yes. And, you know.
But what are the gripes about this one? Because we're able to find the gripes in the first ones because they're formulaic.
Yeah.
But with this one, you know, they're stretching out. And, I would have to say it's that the villain doesn't have a good motive.
No.
He just wants to take over the company and get Hank Pym's secret formula.
He's almost like a Lex Luthor knockoff.
He literally is. And it's like, the villain is boring.
Yeah. Actually, funny enough, I've been wanting him to play Lex Luthor.
Honestly, I feel like he could do a pretty good Lex Luthor over Jonathan Cryer.
Yeah.
Nothing against Jonathan Cryer, but when I see, you know, Lex Luthor and, you know, Smallville's Superman grown up, where it's just like, you gave up your powers? I was like, wait, Superman gave up his powers why? For his kids. For his children. No. Like, no. That just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. Because it's like, you're Superman. You are the embodiment of all things good.
Yeah.
And you're giving up your powers for your kids. Do you have any idea how much fun you would be at show and tell or parents come to school day? Like the kids would be like, this is my dad and he is tough. It's like, he can beat up. Oh, my dad can beat up your dad. At which point I'd be saying, no, I'm betting on him. $50. If I see Superman come into my kid's school and it's like, hey, I am Clark Kent, $50. $50, he can beat anybody in here, including me. At which point then I'd have to split the take, but
for James Gunn's Superman, they just cast Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But back to the MCU.
Yeah, MCU.
Yeah.
Of course. With Ant-Man.
Yeah, there really wasn't a whole lot to this movie.
There wasn't a whole lot. Okay, minor little gripe.
Yeah.
Minor little gripe I've got here. When did Stan Lee become a sugar daddy? What the heck? Seriously. Like, dude.
Although it is one of those MCU movies where the hero and the villain don't interact and
they really
fight
don't
until the very end.
Yeah, and that's their only interaction.
Yeah.
And they try to pull off like some Mission Impossible stuff. I actually got the 6-movie set of Mission Impossible.
Wow.
So I need to watch 2. I need to watch the worst one, 2. I've already seen 3, so I know how that one goes.
Although the fight with Falcon was
fun.
Yes.
That was fun.
How about the fact that I fought an Avenger and I didn't die?
Yeah, literally. Like, the Avengers have been built up to be like these cosmic superheroes. Like the Earth's greatest defenders. And just the fact that, you know, Scott is like, how about the fact that I fought an Avenger and I didn't die? It's like, that, yeah. Like, here's where he sees everybody. And here's where he sees himself. And the fact that he's going toe-to-toe with this guy and beats him, I'm like, huh? That's cool. All right, but then we get into the meat and potatoes of Phase 3. Which was from 2016 to 2019. Phase 3 had Captain America, Civil War.
Yeah, and this is probably one of my biggest issues with um, with not just the end of Phase 2, but Phase 3 as well, is that after Age of Ultron, you're pretty much jumping right into Civil War.
Yeah. Where
Like, there's no setup.
there isn't. Like, they saved the world, and now people are just like, oh, we need the Avengers to break up. Why?
Yeah.
They stopped it.
Yeah. So this is where I feel the MCU was kind of starting to fall apart a little bit.
Yeah, it honestly was, because this is where some of the problems are. That where in Phase 1, they built things up. They built things up. You can still see it in Phase 2 as well, where they were building things up. But by Phase 3, they're building things up, but it's a lot of stuff, like there are cracks starting to form in the foundation.
Yeah. Not to say that Civil War is a bad movie. Like,
No, it's
I
not.
love it.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's just that jump from they saved Sokovia, and now people want them to disband because of one incident where a Wakandan embassy got bombed, where the casualties could have been way more. They were contained more. But that build up where it's like they're all getting along well, to suddenly they're splintering apart after one incident. Keep in mind, in Civil War, it was the new heroes that caused this mass genocide of a town just being blown up. And that's where the Superhero Registration Act comes in. But that was built up over years, months.
Yeah.
This one was just like, oh yeah, like you could literally say, oh, this thing happened. The Sokovia happened on a Monday, and now bombing of the Wakandan embassy happened on a Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, we got the Sokovia Accords. It's like, wait a minute, you're telling me this happened? Like it's too soon. Like there's no buildup.
Right. Yeah. Also, supposedly, Tony's main, I don't even know what to call it.
Reason,
for signing the Accords, siding with the Accords is because of this one kid who died during the Sokovia attack.
Which to me is like, wait a minute. Was that when Ultron was going through the city, or was that after it was already lifted up? Because when they lifted it up, they evacuated everybody.
Right.
So already there's a hole right there. It's like, wait a minute, we got everybody off.
Yeah. Also, like, this kid's not the only person that probably died.
Right.
Like,
there are plenty of other people that died. And I guess Tony says, like, all those people that died, it's like, didn't you get everybody practically? So now you're undoing stuff that happened in Age of Ultron and saying, no, this really happened. Which is already saying, huh? That tells me, wait a minute, what? But the main draw for this was we wanted to see Captain America versus Iron Man.
Yeah.
We didn't care about anything else.
Also, it was our introduction to Black Panther.
Yes.
And Spider-Man.
Yep.
And to be honest, I really don't think Spider-Man needed to be in this movie.
No, he didn't have to be in. They wanted to tease us saying Spider-Man's coming back to the MCU, which built the hype for Civil War. You could have literally had somebody else. You could have had it. Somebody else. You could have taken out, Falcon or Ant-Man. Actually, you should have kept in Ant-Man. You literally could have taken out Falcon from this movie as well. It'd still be fine.
Yeah.
But it was a good movie, but the cracks are already starting to form.
Right.
Next is Doctor Strange. This movie was a mind bender visually.
Yes.
It was fun to watch, like visually just watch what the camera could do, what the editing room could do. It was fun. It was fun.
Some of the things I liked about this movie, one is that it was smaller in scope.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't overloaded with characters.
Right. It went back to something that works for a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Smaller cast, focus in on one hero. But I also watched the Doctor Strange Marvel animated movie just so I could get an idea of what this thing was. And to be fair, they stayed true to the origins of Doctor Strange, which you have to, because this is his origin story.
Yeah, yeah. And I know a lot of people had a problem with the casting of Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One.
Yeah.
Um,
But to be fair, the Ancient One, it's gotten to the point where, yeah, you could have a guy, but it's like, it could be a woman as well.
Also, she wasn't always Asian in the comics.
No.
And the main reason why, this is coming from the Doctor Strange commentary track.
Mm-hmm.
But Scott Derrickson said that in his commentary that the Ancient One was the hardest character to cast.
Yeah.
Because
it could be anyone.
Yeah. Because he understands he understands the criticism.
Yeah.
But the reason why he went with Tilda Swinton was because he felt that's what was best for the character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't want it to come off as a racial stereotype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and you can see that effort in that, because it's like, keep in mind, we have not seen a whole lot of female superheroes, so to see one where it's like she actually holds her own and kicks some serious ass, it's like, oh, that's cool. Look at that.
Yes.
But we gotta keep moving on this.
Yeah. Wong almost wasn't in the movie for that exact same reason.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad he was in. Wong is awesome.
Yes.
All right, next is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
I mean,
this one felt a little bit more silly.
Yeah. I mean, I still enjoyed it.
It was fun, but it felt more like, it was trying to get away from what made the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie work, which was that there were silly moments, but it knew that it had to be serious a decent chunk of the time. This one, it was more like, oh, we're going to be silly a decent chunk of the time and serious for moments. Like, it was kind of a flip-flop, which still fun, still good, but I was like,
I love Kurt Russell.
He's always good.
Yeah.
Anything he does.
Yeah. I think that's all I have to say about this movie.
Yeah. A little bit too silly, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
We've already talked in depth about that.
We see our previous videos.
Yeah.
Like, that way. Yeah. That way. Whichever one where they show up of us, check our YouTube channel. We talked about Spider-Man Homecoming enough to fill a whole video.
Yeah.
So go to that if you want to hear our thoughts on it. Yeah. Next, Thor Ragnarok. This one I liked that it broke the formula of okay-ish Thor movies. This one was actually really good.
Yeah, a lot of people consider this to be the best Thor movie.
It really was. Because it said we're gonna break away from the formula and tread the same treaded ground that we do to do something different.
Yeah.
And it works. It works. But the question became what happened to Hulk? Because at the end of Age of Ultron, he set off into space. We don't know what happens to him. No, this one, he does say what happens to him. But it's like,
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be Planet Hulk.
Yeah, this is probably the closest we're going to get to a Planet Hulk movie.
Which, if you haven't checked out Planet Hulk, watch that. It is so good. So good. But Thor Ragnarok, it's silly, it's goofy, but it knows when it's gotta be serious. That was why I like this one over Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 tried to be more silly in the serious moments when it shouldn't have.
Right. Although a lot of those scenes had to do with Rocket.
Yeah.
Who was still the best character.
No, easily. Like, the fact that it's like, we're all driving. It was like, did I take shrooms or something like that? If my dad was saying, like, Dad, did you kids give me acid or something? All right. But anyways.
One issue I think I had with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is that there are way too many characters.
There was a lot of characters, like a ton, when there didn't need to be.
Yeah.
All right, so Thor Ragnarok, it's the best one of the Thor movies, but it has its moments where it's like Thor loses an eye, it starts to become more like Odin. It's like, oh, I have to find myself. I'm like, dude, you already know yourself from this movie. Next is Black Panther. This movie was fun. This movie focused strictly on Black Panther, and it was good. This provided a change of pace from the of villains. It broke the ground where it said, we're going to make them sympathetic. Which was like, hey, this is new. We like this.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, he's a villain, but there's a reason for that.
I think there could have been maybe a bit more action.
Just a little bit more action. But I get it. They're trying to show like, oh, this is what. But I do like this movie because it shows what Black Panther is doing after, Civil War, which is like, that's kind of what I want to see. Like, how's that build up?
Yeah, because there's a lot of talking in this movie.
Mm-hmm. A ton.
And some of it tends to drag out just a little bit too long.
Just a hair. But anyways, next after that, it's the Avengers Infinity War. This one is the movie that everything was starting to lead up to. This is part 1 of the last Avengers movie. And it was, oh my gosh, it was
well, for now.
Yeah. Yeah, for now. There'll be other Avengers movies, but this was like the one that everybody went to. The one where everybody was like, we got to see this. We got to see how it goes. And, of course, the thing is, my mom was like, oh, I'll go to Avengers movie. Wait, what's going on? What happened? Because if you focus only on the Avengers movies, you're not going to know what leads up to it.
Yeah. I wanted to see this movie because it came out around the time of my birthday.
Yeah.
So I got like a group of people together, some of my family, and we went to go see this movie.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. We went to go see it. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I even took some friends and we went to go see it another time. I was like, man. And I still say this because this has actually happened. Kids who are watching this and adults that are watching this, do not do what I do. It's a bad idea. But actually, you know what? It's kind of a decent idea. If you are ever thirsty and want an alcoholic beverage in the theater, sneak it in. Sneak it in. Because some of the prices are expensive. Now, always make sure you go to your concession stand, buy some food there, because every once in a while you're like, I got some to spare. Let's get pretzels. Let's get a slushie or a soda pop. But I do not recommend getting the alcohol because it is vastly overcharged. I mean, the same thing with your theater, right? Like, it's overpriced. But Avengers Infinity War.
Yes.
The gripe that I have with this is that it ends on the note that the villain has won. We are not used to that. And I was like, God dang it. But that's also a good thing because it reminded me of the Saturday morning cartoons where it had those 2-part specials, those 2-part episodes, where you had to watch, you had to get back to it next week because if you missed it, and this was back in like the 90s when we grew up, if you missed part 2, you had to pray that when you watched it next, it was on a rerun. But sometimes you'd have to wait until it came out on VHS or DVD in order to see part 2. And your parents would say like, well, why you watch this? Then you say, it's like, no, we saw part 1. But remember, we had to run those errands that you said we have to go and do this when I wanted to watch TV and see what happened. But we missed it, and I kept praying that it would come up on the reruns, but it didn't. So I got this because I wanted to see it.
Like, how many times have you been told, oh, it'll be on again? Like,
you miss it, and it's never on again whenever you try. Okay, this is for any kids that are watching, this is something you don't understand. When it came to Saturday morning cartoons, you didn't mess around. You 100% didn't mess around. We can make this a whole stinking video right here. Yeah. That's what we should do for our next topic.
Yes. It was one of those, like, you had to be there moments.
You absolutely had to be there.
Yeah.
All right, but anyways, on to Ant-Man and the Wasp.
One other thing I want to say about Infinity War.
Yeah.
Is that, well, a couple other things. The moment where like everyone is turning to ash.
Yeah.
Was extremely powerful.
It was. It really was.
Yeah.
Now we've got 4 other films to go, so we're
Yes.
gonna have to rapid
Okay,
fire
yeah.
this because we got less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. What did you think?
I liked it.
It was good, but the villain of the whole thing just came out of nowhere. Ghost.
Yeah, he wasn't really a villain.
He really wasn't, which is the gripe that you could have with that. So the villain wasn't really much of a villain. Next, Captain Marvel.
Too much hate surrounding this movie.
Yeah, a lot of hate surrounded this movie, but also I would say this for Captain Marvel. You couldn't really get drawn into the hero. She was just like there.
Yeah.
Like you build her up at the event and at the end of Infinity War to be like this big cosmic superhero, and it's just like she's meh in personality wise, but that's the only thing I got with this.
Yeah.
Oh, and also the Nick Fury eye scratch getting like how he got his scar was from a cat scratch. It's like what? To me, that felt like it was a disrespect done to Nick Fury.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, what was I gonna say?
Keep going. Keep thinking.
Yeah.
Keep thinking. Keep thinking. Is it still related to Captain Marvel?
I felt the villain, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Jude Law or something like that.
Was taken down way too easily.
Way too easily. For someone that's supposed to be a teacher, you one-shot him? No! He should be able to put up more of a fight.
Yeah.
Like, that was irritating to me. All right, next. Avengers Endgame. It's all been leading up to this one. This one was a great movie. Great movie. But, now it's looking like they're going to undo it by trying to bring back,
They really shouldn't be doing that.
They want to bring back Tony Stark and Natasha.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson and Robert Downey Jr. It's like, no, please don't.
Yeah.
Please don't. The instant you bring them back is when they cheapen their sacrifice.
Right.
And that's, I can't stand that. I cannot stand that.
Yeah. Another one that I saw on my birthday.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Actually, yeah. Look at the dates.
Yeah.
Literally a year later. It was awesome. All right. Now, Avengers Endgame, you could feel like it was the end of the MCU.
Yeah.
It was the end of it.
They really should have stopped there.
They really should have. But they did. They could have gone a couple of movies after that.
Yeah.
For only 2 more movies. One, Spider-Man Far From Home, which we're going to talk about.
Yes.
And Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah. Spider-Man Far From Home, I loved it.
It was fun. Like, it was take Peter out into London sort of thing on a trip. It was great. It was fun. And at the end, when they brought out J.K. Simmons for J. Jonah Jameson, I was like, yes!
Yes.
Yes!
Yeah, and Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio.
Oh, yeah. And you tried to you made him exactly how Mysterio was, a trickster. Like, he was a special effects guy. Okay. But that's the MCU up to Phase 3.
Yes.
Now, for me, I didn't watch much of Phase 4
Okay.
or 5. And 6 isn't even out yet, so we don't even got to worry about that.
Yeah.
But this is the multiverse saga. But anyways, I think next video we should talk about the Saturday morning cartoons to piggyback off of Avengers Infinity War and Endgame.
Yes, we will absolutely do that.
Okay, sounds good.
Right.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us. And what do you say for this? I am off Thursday, this upcoming Thursday, if you have nothing going on. I'm also off Sunday as well, if Sunday would work better.
I am also off on Thursday.
Okay, we will see y'all Thursday. All right.
All right, bye.
Bye. See ya. Oh my gosh, we got just a